It's your boy, Sports Rap CEO, and I'm back at it, right? It's Monday. Y'all know what we do here. We get down, we do what we do on Mondays. We talk a lot of sports. We talk everything, but we definitely talk Philly sports and our local sports. So, like I mentioned to y'all in the quick intro, and if y'all didn't see the intro, then shame on you because you should have been paying attention. But nonetheless, I'm here, and I got my guest with me, right? And y'all know that, y'all see that. So, again, excuse my delay, but we are here. You know where I'm at Sports Rap CEO on Instagram live right now. Also, if you are tuned in on the airwaves, internet radio, you can get me at heat100radio.airtime.pro. All right, you can hear my voice there if you can't visualize and join in with us while we are talking. So, it is Monday, October 20th. Basketball season is right around the corner. Basketball season starts tomorrow officially, but for my guys, Sixers, we start on Wednesday. All right, tough game too. We got the Celtics coming up first game. I don't know why they do that to us after coming off of the season that we just had, and giving us the Celtics in the first game is a little weird. Kind of like the weirdness of the Eagles not having back-to-back home games at all. All right, so real quick, I'm not gonna go back to the college scores like I just mentioned to the guys. I may switch up some things, so y'all just gonna have to catch up, and y'all will see my post when I post. I'm gonna give y'all NFL scores just because, and I missed the San Fran Atlanta game, but I know San Fran won that game anyway. So y'all gonna be short one score, but nonetheless, y'all gonna enjoy the show, right? Going back to Thursday, week 7, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Cincinnati takes that 33-31. All right, moving into yesterday's games. The LA Rams at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams hold on 35-7 after that game was overseas. I am sick of these overseas games. The overseas games really get on my nerves because I'm not expecting to see football that early. And it's bothersome. It's just confusing. And it's got some more coming, but we'll see. Hope they get rid of them real soon. Anyway, New Orleans at Chicago. Chicago takes that at home 26-14. Miami falls to Cleveland 31-6. New England gets by Tennessee 31-13. Vegas gets blanked by KC 31-0. The Eagles go to Minnesota and get back on the winning track. They take that game 28-22. The Carolina Panthers beat the Jets 13-6. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I don't think Aaron Glenn is going to make the entire season. 7 weeks in there, 0-7 right now, and it doesn't look like things are going to get any better. So I'm hoping he does, but I don't feel real confident that he's going to make it to the end of the season. The Giants, in a barn burner, if you will. Giants let them come back. They let the Denver Broncos come back and beat them 33-32. Indianapolis gets by the Chargers 38-24. The Washington Commanders fall to the Cowboys 44-22. Green Bay gets by Arizona 27-23. I missed the San Fran Atlanta actual score, but I know San Fran won. So for my San Fran fans, my former co-host Baldy, other co-host Frank, y'all won. So that's all y'all really need to know. So, like I said, today is Monday, October 20th, and you know it's getting close to basketball season. You see my guest here. I'm going to turn this camera for a second. Y'all can see the whole video later on. But you see there, the basketball there, right? See that one guy here is holding that basketball. It's a special basketball. We're going to talk about that as well. So, got our guys here. First thing I'm going to do is I want to have you guys, these gentlemen, introduce themselves. Whenever you guys are ready, who wants to go first, you can introduce yourselves and let us know what you are here to talk about.
I'm Liam Tuff, guard forward for the Burlington, New Jersey ABA Thoroughbreds. Starter, to be exact. So our new season is coming up in November, Thanksgiving weekend. We will have a full media day. We're also having a Burgers and Ballers fundraiser on November 1st. If anybody is interested, you can go to the Burlington Thoroughbreds page on Instagram, also Facebook. and we just appreciate all the support. We are passionate about this sport and about being athletes for this team, and we're just happy to be here.
My name is Christian Shetsky. I'm a guard for the Burlington Thoroughbreds as well, and we're here to talk about the upcoming season.
Good, cool. Appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day from being here. So for my people that are tuned in, y'all don't know, but I need y'all to understand this. Y'all are going to appreciate this interview. I definitely appreciate these gentlemen for taking time out of their busy days to come in and sit with me and talk for a little bit. So, Christian, how did you get connected and get involved with the Burlington Thoroughbreds?
So this is how I discovered them through Instagram. Whenever I decided to pursue a career in the ABA, I was searching for a team, and Burlington was one of the ones I found, and I messaged them. I went to a workout, and I made the team, and that's how I ended up on Burlington.
Cool. Liam, what about you?
So I was already doing a lot of basketball content, and I've been passionate with the game for a while. I had 2 spine operations, and I had a full bounce back from that. So it was more so proving something to myself. I had a lot of skill that I left on the floor that I just wanted to get back into, and I still had a lot of room to grow. So that's kind of what led me here. And I actually know one of the players that was previously playing and was already kind of pursuing with the Burlington Thoroughbreds. So his name's Raheem. He's actually one of the other Thoroughbreds that's a guard on the team as well. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Raheem.
And yeah, man, we just we've been locked in since then, and I've been consistent ever since. So great opportunity.
So I also want to applaud you guys. And Bashonda's probably gonna get mad at me when I say this. I got to keep it 100. That's what I do. That's why you see the sign up there. It says a station that keeps it 100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have become friends over the time. I met Rashana through another team I did some work with, the Camden Monarchs. 2 owners are kind of friends, whatever, and then we met, and I started doing some stuff there. And it got to the point where last year she had some struggles, and she bounced some things off of me, and I gave her my honest to God opinion on what we talked about, and I see things moving. So like I said, once I meet people I continue to follow, I see things moving, and I say it's a great thing. I'm glad that you 2 guys are going to be part of her situation and now your situation in the ABA and playing professional basketball. Like you said, Liam, I definitely have to applaud you, especially what you just mentioned with the spine surgeries, and now you're back full active on the court. It's an amazing feat. Like they say, God is good all the time, and he's living proof of it right here. So, Liam, guard, point guard, shooting guard.
Preferably point guard, and my ball control is superb. So when it comes to bringing that ball up and being able to just see the floor, I can attack it, or I can pull my teammates in for what they need off of the space. That's what I do. But I also play that big man too. So
I play the 1 or the 2. It just depends on how the coaches decide to play me. In college, I ran the 2. Before, I was supposed to play 4 different ABA teams before they shut down, and they had me running the 1. But I could go either way.
College ball. What college did you play with?
So I played 2 years for Southeastern Baptist College, and then I played 1 year for University of Valley Forge.
Okay. College basketball for you, Lynn?
You know what's crazy? I have the experience without the actual playing for a team.
Okay.
So for me, it was just always different leagues.
Right.
And then prior to my spine, everything with my spine, I really didn't have the advantages of being able to keep up. So this was like a comeback story for me fully. I kind of lost a lot of years, and this is just me figuring it out and getting back to it again.
So, whoever wants to go first, when did you realize that you had a love for the game of basketball?
You want to go first?
Two.
Or you want me to go first?
2 years old.
Okay.
2 years old, and if you let my mom tell it, she'll tell you when it came to basketball, I wouldn't put it down. I have never put it down. It was more so just they were strict on, working and being like a student first and just having my grades right. But I was more so a class clown. I had, a lot of different, I was being strayed away from a lot of different things. So I was more focused on trying to make money than everything else. And that was from high school throughout. So that was my full focus. I played rec, outdoor everywhere I could. I built a name for myself just playing all around the cities, New York and so on and so forth. So that was my thing. But yeah, since 2 years old, I don't think it was anything I picked more than basketball.
So my story is a little bit different. So I started to play seventh grade year because of my friends. I didn't really like it at the time, and then I tried out my 8th grade year, and I got cut. And that was the same time I got introduced to Jesus as well. And then I felt like I should have kept, and I felt like I needed to keep working out and keep trying, and I did. And then I made the team for my 8th grade year after getting cut my 7th grade year. And then that pursued like the work ethic, the love for the game, and that led to me being the first male college basketball athlete out of my high school.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. So, both of you guys, well, for you, Liam, at 2, for you, Christian, you said 7th
grade, yeah.
Moving a little bit, it's moving along a little bit. You start playing. You in the leagues, you built your name, right? When about, if you could gauge it, did it click to you that I could possibly do something with my game? Like I could possibly be pro, I could go semi-pro, or go overseas or something like that. For either one of you guys, like how y'all want to, wherever you want to go first. When do you think it clicked for you, where you felt like I can do this? I'm sure I know I'm gonna have to do work or whatever, but where I am right now, it's like, yeah, I can get there.
With me, so after my junior year in college, I was supposed to return to my old school, but then I just couldn't. So my old school's in Mississippi, and I couldn't afford to relocate back to Mississippi. So I took a year off, and in that year, I was working out at this gym called Danko's, and then there was a bunch of different pro players like from overseas and the ABA all over the place. And I met this one dude named Bishop. He was like, he's the one who really made a push for me to go try this. And then it led to me signing with the Thorobreds.
Cool. So now that you are with the Thorobreds, right, how has that process been for you guys? Like your first time on like a pro team. So far, how has that process been? I know it's still somewhat early, but how has that process been for you guys?
It's been amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the passion for the game itself, right, is all like mental. So if you're passionate about it, you become obsessed just from being super consistent. I feel like that whole process is like the reason that it's nothing but amazing. Even when we're failing or making mistakes, it's all a part of the game. And I feel like that comes with wisdom too. Like you learn from each and every, piece of, what you're doing, whether it's on the court, off the court, you got to be able to do both.
Right.
There's no, one without the other, and then we're learning more now. And I've already had like a feel for the business part of it as well as the, basketball part of it. Both of these are very particular. And being obsessed, if you're anything less than that, I don't feel like you're going to get as far as you would like to. Because it just takes that extra pizzazz or that extra, notch to be able to get to where we are now. Like I had an opportunity with the Red Rose Thunder a few years ago, but I failed. I wasn't able to get over the hump and, be able to actually play for the team and be a part of the season. So that told me, all right, I can do it. I just got to be able to push and be obsessed with this whole process from beginning to end. And I found that, and now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Like what he says, it just takes a lot of hard work. Like, for example, one of the main reasons I was able to continue to play after college and into college out of my high school, I averaged 6 points per game in high school, but I lived in a basketball gym. I would spend like 8-10 hours a day just living in there. And that continued on, and that work ethic is going to help develop along the way with this career.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, Chris. So one of the things that I wanted to mention, just to piggyback what both of you guys said real quick, was like you said, you had somebody that pushed you. You went through it, and then you realized, but like you both are now focused on the business side. And this is what I like to do here with the show. I like to give my breakdown of the sports and what's actually going on. And then I also give the background in the business side.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like for me, and I saw some of your stuff that inspires, it also leads to my other points where I'm always talking to people when I'm out in the community, and I talk to kids and I talk to youth all the time. And I tell them there are other ways that you can stay connected to the game if you put in the work, if you ask the right questions, if you do the right things, because you're not going to play forever.
Nope.
Okay? It could be injury, it could be age, it could be whatever. You're not going to play forever. Second point I wanted to bring up is, from you, Christian, you said you averaged 6 points in high school.
Yes.
Nowadays, and I would say now and going back maybe 4 or 5 years, just to throw a number out there to play with some numbers, I feel like a lot more players misconceive the game within the game, where they feel you only score 6 points, you're not going to get it. That's not going to do it.
It ain't how it works.
There are so many other aspects of basketball where you can score 6 points, but some games, those could be critical 6 points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It depends on where and how you get those 6 points.
Yep.
And this is what a lot of times, like I said, now, and just to throw a number out to play the numbers of 4 or 5 years, a lot of players, some coaches, some other people are thinking like, yo, if you can't score the ball, then whatever. But then you look at the teams and it's like, all right, you want these guys to score. You got 2 or 3 guys that can't score. You're working these guys that can score, but they got 45 apiece, and the other team got 65 as a team.
Mm-hmm.
You do the math on that. Look like you losing on that end. And then they don't grasp like the concept of that, what we all just mentioned.
Yeah,
like 6 points, okay, it could have been a crucial 6, but it might not come here. I know I played a game one time. I didn't score at all through the entire game. And at the end, we were down 1.
Mm.
I'm dribbling the ball up. I make the one pass. I get the ball back. I look at the clock, and I'm like, I'm at the 3-point line. I didn't really pay attention that I was at the 3-point line. It was wide open, and I knew basketball knowledge. Ain't nobody within 4 feet of me. I'm launching this.
Right.
I don't care if the coach said don't shoot it or not.
Yeah.
Y'all deal with the coach when I come off the court. And I knocked down the 3, and we win the game. And some of the other players on the other team were like, yo, like, dude, how you wasn't shooting all game? I said, because the team I played with, I played my part. I played defense. I rebounded. They didn't need me to score then. And I said, y'all made that happen because y'all sagged off me because I didn't score, thinking that I was incapable. And surprise, surprise, I knocked it down and, we win the game.
Yep.
So I think that's a valuable lesson that a lot of people need to grasp a hold of and get with moving forward. And thinking about how they approach, like you said, the 2 B's go hand in hand, basketball and business. It goes hand in hand. As we see professional basketball, and we see how crazy that gets with all the trades and all that stuff. So yeah, basketball and business definitely goes in hand. So you guys are playing for the Burlington Thoroughbreds. I've been there, been in the community, been at some games. I will say one thing about that situation that you guys may not have felt yet, or may not have noticed yet, but your owner is heavily backed by her community. You might have got a little glimpse of it, but when I say heavily backed, I mean she has people that support her like she's their kid or something. And I think that's a blessing. And I think that's part of the reason why we connected and stayed connected, because she was always genuine. And I was doing this and I saw what she was doing, and it just struck me as something to get my hands in. African American woman, her own professional basketball team and other businesses, and she has the support of the community. A lot more times than not, it's a little iffy with the community. It's like, we don't know. And then especially like when you get into the sports thing, a lot more people, more times than not, think, oh, it's a woman, she don't know what she's doing, and she need a man in there, whatever. But contrary to belief, she knows, she understands. And I applaud her, and I applaud her all the time for that. So how have you guys been received by that same community? If you have any interaction with the community as of yet?
Yeah, I feel like it's love. I don't see any part of it where it's too much judgment or it's too much pushback, which is a bad thing because you get a bad taste from the beginning. It's like, all right, well, I don't even know about this now. You know what I mean? But we haven't I know me personally, I don't see any backlash or anything where we're not going to be welcome. And I know he's had his experiences too with being in the neighborhood. So
yeah, exactly. I felt welcoming, and I can see the how the community supports her as well. I'm still learning more about it, but I could see it from my experiences.
Cool. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, you see Christian. She had things holding. I know a lot of you are probably saying it's a basketball. Of course, we see what it is. It's not a basketball. It's a Johnson basketball. So if you don't know, a little background real quick. Owner of the Burlington Thorobreds, Shauna Johnson. That's her name. She has her own basketball. All right? I've been trying to get her up here, but she doesn't like to be on camera. So I'm going to try and get her to give me a little bit more backdrop on the basketball, and I'll bring that to you. Unless either one of my guys here has some information that she didn't share with me about the basketball, because I asked her to make sure that she sent one, because I wanted to make sure I got the basketball on camera. So any stories that she told you guys that you might think that she hasn't told me about the basketball?
no stories.
No stories?
Other than that's the family last name.
Yeah, that's the last name. The family, it's her
Yeah.
basketball. And, I thought, I think it was a great idea for her to have her own basketball. And I always take notes, just thinking about what you guys were talking about with your guys' ideas and your thoughts on the business side, right? You were talking about going and playing in gyms, recreation centers or gyms that they don't have proper basketballs, or better yet, don't have basketballs at all. Liam, you even mentioned having a league and the players
had to provide
basketballs.
And that's
not something that should happen, right? Because what if something happens and like my game is over and I'm the only one that had a ball and it's like 2 or 3 more games behind me, and then what?
Yeah.
You just cancel the games and whatever. So, and then I also understand, and this is just doing some research when I first saw about her getting her own basketball. I said, I'm just weird like that. So I started looking up things. And I kind of got the glimpse and the understanding that it's very difficult to get a basketball contract. And I take that with a grain of salt, because I tell people again, like I said, look at how the NBA has went. As long as we knew, NBA basketball was a Spalding basketball.
Yep.
Right? What was it, 2 years ago, a year or 2 ago, they switched over to Wilson. And for us basketball players, y'all gonna laugh when I say this. For us basketball players, Wilson, you said it earlier, was typically that carnival basketball. Y'all see them laughing. You know that laugh is they know what I'm talking about. And I mean, anybody else that's tuned in and they're listening, you know it. When we played, we had a Spalding ball, because we was NBA ball. That's the ball we wanted to play with, right? Or we had a McGregor.
Oh man, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Wilson was sprinkled in there. They had some basketballs, but when we talk about it, when we think about it, just like you said, Liam, you go to that park, that amusement park, or that county fair or whatever, you shoot that basketball hoop, which is rigged anyway, You're looking at the ball, and it's always a Wilson, or it's a cheap version of a Spalding, or a Bain, right? Yeah. So it's great to see that she has basketballs. I just haven't seen if she has the AB. I don't know if she has the copyrights, whatever, where she can make her own ABA ball. Because I know they still use the red, white, and blue. But that would be great for her too. But still, she doesn't have to worry about any types of confusion. Basketballs. When the team comes for practice, for workouts, we got basketballs. And we got good basketballs. It's not just like you said, you go to some rec centers and it's like, you got to bounce about 15 balls before you find one that you can use.
All sitting in that cage.
And they all sitting in that cage, right? And it's like you feel, it's like you see them, and the one that you look at, you be like, that's the one. And as soon as you get it, it's...
Yep, you got to tell you.
or it's got a hickey or something in it, right? And, so, again, good to see that she has a ball. I heard you, Christian, mention that that's all that you play with now.
Yeah, it is. Like, I used Wilson before, but then once I got this ball, I completely switched over. I don't even know where my Wilson ball is right now, actually.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I like the fact that it's an indoor game ball.
Exactly.
We got an outdoor version,
too.
Now,
Now, people may not understand. You're not a basketball player. You may not understand. There is a difference.
Texture.
Right? There is a difference between an indoor basketball and an outdoor basketball and an indoor-outdoor.
Right.
I think the indoor-outdoors are the worst.
Yeah.
Because
once you do one or the other, you go outside.
It's done.
Now.
Yeah, it's done. You got to keep it outside.
Absolutely.
You can't. Like I had to tell my son, my basketball at home, he was playing basketball with his friends. I said, you can take it as long as y'all in the school playing with it. You can't play with that outside.
Right.
And he's like, but it say indoor, outdoor. I know what the balls say, but I paid for it. And I'm telling you, play with it inside. I said, but if you want to do it, you'll see what I mean. I said, get one of your friends and y'all take a ball outside that looks like this and play with it outside a couple times. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay.
It's leather.
Yeah, it's leather. And it'll turn to cotton. Feel like cotton. Stringing apart, it's starting to peel. Then you look and you're playing with the tube on the inside eventually. Right? Great. So great to see that she has her basketball. I love that for her. I love that for you guys. So, how excited are you guys to be playing professional basketball? He cut his eye at you, Chris, so I guess you up first.
All right, I'm going first. All right, very excited because where I grew up from, it doesn't happen. Like, I grew up in Meridian, Mississippi. They didn't even have ABA teams down there until last year. Mm-hmm. So it just provides an opportunity to be able to continue to play.
Pretty short. Yeah, I mean, pretty short. It's ecstatic. That's the word I would use. But just it's opportunity after opportunity, and regardless of it, it's like now it's the time now. So I don't think it's going to actually hit me that it's happening and I'm actually here. And then on top of them naming me the captain, I didn't expect that at all. So I'm just ready to be the best leader I can and go get some wins and entertain the fans and the supporters.
Cool. So you said you were named captain.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to guess, if you will, why you?
I don't know how to answer that question. You know what I mean? I know my work ethic. I know my passion, right? But I also know that everybody on this team has that passion, and they're all designated to be here as well. So literally being like my breath was taken away. Like, wow, this is. I wouldn't have expected it. If anything, shout out to Raheem again. I thought that he would have still been able to keep that and take that role as with the new season and everything. So to get it, I'm just blessed. I'm happy to have the opportunity, and I know how to be a leader. So I'm gonna do the best I can with this team, and as the athlete on this team.
So y'all here together. Good leader.
Yes, he is.
You ain't got to. You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, don't sugarcoat it, man. We
keep it funny.
Good
leader, though. No,
I think he's a good leader. I think that's why he got it. His leadership skills and his basketball knowledge is why Rashana chose him to be the captain.
Cool. Yeah. So, with that being said, you're the captain. Any expectations of the team that has been put together right now?
So what's interesting, but also it's in a good way, I would say, is we're still building. You know, I don't feel like there should ever be a point where you stop building until you have every single piece that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be the problem with other teams, that they kind of feel like, okay, we have our roster and now we're just going to stop.
Right.
Because you never know. And not to say that there's somebody that's going to fall short, but we need everything to be tip top. And that means work ethic, off court, on the court, the passion, like I said, and just constantly like wanting to do better, wanting to be better, wanting to develop as a team, but knowing like, okay, I come for this. I might not be the superstar, but I can be the best role player possible. You know what I mean? Then you have some that might just be designated to be the superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be times where we have to step up, or somebody else has to step up and take that role. Right. And that's all a part of being, you know, the best team and being able to just go out there and perform at the highest value and the highest level. Mm-hmm. So that's where my mind is with it.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Just thinking back as I'm sitting here talking to you guys and listening to your answers to the questions I'm asking, and how you guys have absorbed and taken this whole opportunity in. I'm going to say for Rashana, and I don't know if she said it to you, but as a friend, I'm going to say thank you. And I say that because, like I said, we have talked, and we talked last year, and she gave some guys had the opportunity that, in my opinion, were not fully ready for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. They kind of, for lack of a better word, took it for granted. Yeah. And not understanding that, okay, it is the ABA, but it's like you said, it's still basketball. And on any given day, you're traveling. You don't know who's in that gym.
It's only take one person.
You got G League around. You got a bunch of Pro-Ams around. Mm-hmm. You got Euro Leagues all around. And again, you never know who may pop up in the gym or be in the gym where you may have to go and visit and play.
Right.
So for you guys to sit here and be listening to the maturity and the level-headed and the knowledge that you have and the wherewithal to understand the opportunity that you have in front of you is a blessing. And like I said, she'll probably mention this to you guys if she sees or if you say anything, if you mention it to her when she asks you how the interview went. Mm-hmm. You tell her, yeah, because like I said, the guys that she had, there were some that were into it, but there were also some that, like you said, took that opportunity for granted, not fully realizing what other doors it could possibly open.
Right.
You know, and like I said, you said before, basketball and basketball business, the two B's go together. I tell people all the time, you never know where the business can take you. I said, look at how many ex-players now are becoming commentators. Mm-hmm. Usually they kind of ride off into the sunset and you hear about them owning the business. But when you have that attachment, that love for the game, you find ways to stay attached to the game. Right? Mm-hmm. So definitely applaud you guys for that. So, first time professional basketball. Play with it a little bit. You have a successful season this season. What's your outlook, thought process following that?
So I don't remember Chris in his situation, but I signed a 2-year contract. So that's, you know, this is all, like I said, this is all going to be growth. I feel like each game, each practice, any event, any other podcast or any other interviews we do are all going to be a part of that, just, you know, building the rapport and just the overall with the city and just wherever we go to. Because we're going to be traveling too. So we got to make sure that we have that correct face, but also we're able to put on that, you know, correct image for our team and for ourselves.
Anything you want to add, Chris?
Yeah, like I signed a 2-year contract with him as well, and I think this will be a great opportunity to like establish the team and make it something so that builds onto the future even after our time is up with the Thorobreds.
Right.
Just this is not necessarily a part of it, but I guess this would be something. But I've already had, so I actually have my own basketball brand, and I've actually done a little bit with it from the brand itself with like clothing to my team is actually in a Pro-Am right now, and we're going to the playoffs this weekend. So shout out to the Ace of Spades Pro-Am. It's their second or third season they've been running this, and it's been going pretty well. They run outside of Philadelphia in the Big Hustle gym, which is out the Northeast area.
Okay.
So, but anti-weakness, that's the definition of tough to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I put an LLC on it, so it's an official business. And it's doing pretty well. I know a lot of people that don't necessarily go to the extra step to do that, and I wanted to make sure I did that. So it's it's another part of my basketball journey that I plan on sticking with, and it's my brand, my own. So I'm gonna take that with me as long as I can as well, along with the Thoroughbreds.
Cool. All right, so you have a brand. Chris, you're playing now.
Mm-hmm.
For either one or both of you guys, you both signed 2-year contracts. Where would you say you might see yourself in, let's say, 5-10 years down the line?
More of a student as a game and professional.
Okay.
Helping teach more than I already do, and consistently motivating, just like I've always wanted to, because I feel like that's the biggest goal here.
Right.
Like after I'm not playing anymore,
Mm-hmm.
motivating and inspiring whoever I can, whether it's the viewers on social media or in person.
So just watch out for your team. He's gonna be a coach. I hear it and I see it. And like I say that because, like you said that word teach. And when you say that word teach, it lets me know that you have a dedication, you have a love for the game, and you want to share whatever you get. A while back, I had Raheem Thompson on the show, and we had a conversation. The chosen leader. What if you're not familiar with it, Chris? I know you're from my town. We talked about basketball trainers, and one of the things he mentioned, and we all laughed about it at the time, was he gets disturbed when he goes into gyms and he sees these guys that call themselves trainers, and they're in the gym and they're standing on the court. They may have shorts on or sweatpants or whatever, but then they have on boots. And they're just holding the basketball, like yelling at the kids, and the kids are just running around. And I coached for a little bit, and we had practices where there were no basketballs. Like, we would tell our kids, don't bring your basketball to practice because you're not going to use it. Don't bring it to practice. And then we had actual practices where there were no basketballs. And the kids would come in and they were like, yo, coach, like, how are we going to practice? We don't have no basketball. You let me worry about that. You just go ahead and get on that line and get ready to do these sprints so we can start.
Mm-hmm.
And the fulfillment for me was, one, at the time I was coaching, I was still playing a little, so I was able to actually get out on the court and show the kids.
Right.
The biggest fulfillment was come game days, sitting on that sideline and watching these kids do what I told them to do, and it worked. And then seeing the joy in them. And of course, I got to tell them, yo, get back. We still in the game. Yeah, you made the basket. That's what you're supposed to do. Get back. So for me, that was the fulfillment. What could you say, if anything, if you had a moment like that now that you are on a pro team? Is it just signing and being on a pro team, or is it a little bit more mixed in that gives you that fulfillment? Like, kind of like, I've made it. Not it's completely made it, but you probably understand what I mean. I made it.
I feel like it just goes back to discipline. I don't know, in so many words, it's just like, I think I said it earlier too, I don't think it's going to hit me until like media day in our first game. I think that's when it'll really hit me. Right now it's more so just kind of getting familiar with everything, and then we're here just trying to put our faces out there and really get people familiar outside of just wherever we played at before. Right. We're not like household names yet. Yeah. So I may have a little slight advantage just from how much I've been creating my own basketball content and just showing my skill set in an unorthodox skill setting. Right. That's what I put myself in. The people I watch, the people I look up to as far as mentors when it comes to basketball, all unorthodox, all just different from what's being taught. I don't think a lot of the not being like everybody else as far as a player is being taught the way it should be, and that's what I bring. So showing that and just knowing like you don't have to be like 7 of those players over there. You don't have to be like the rest of your team. You can be a completely different type of player and still be, able to fulfill the game and be a big part of the game as well.
A lot of times I think players, younger players, and especially our youth, they get discouraged when they look at other people and in their eyes they're succeeding, but they're not.
That's the blueprint.
And they think like they think that's the blueprint, but like we all mentioned, that's not the necessary blueprint because basketball is a game. No one ever goes out there and wins anything by themselves.
Right.
You have to be able to do something, and sometimes you just make playing defense, for example, which seems like nobody nowadays wants to do. Just staying in front of your player, your person that you're guarding, even if you just making it tough for them. They may still score, but if you making it tough, in all reality, you've done your job.
Right.
Because now they frustrated, and now they forcing.
And they're getting tired.
And they're getting more tired. Right. So now when their team needs them late in the game, they might be out of gas because you was a pain in the ass all game long. Right. And people, they think that it's amazing how many teams have players and coaches that don't kind of spread that and share that. I think I had an advantage because I had all 3 hats. I was a player, coach, and a referee. And I don't know how many times, just switching a little bit as a referee, I had to go past a bench and tell her, yo, talk to number 24 before I talk to him. And the coach was like, what you mean? Again, talk to number 24. Because if I talk to him, he's going to be sitting over here with you. And they're like, why? And then at the end of the game, when I had a moment or whatever, I tell him, yo, listen, I give everybody one. I'm on the baseline. He was a little handsy. I told both players, I didn't single them out. I said, listen, the 2 of y'all, stop it right now. This is your one and only warning. Then he comes right back down, he does it again. But I wasn't on the baseline, but I saw it. So I'm saying it to you now, coach. Talk to him before I talk to him. And the coach is looking at me like, I don't get it. I don't understand what you mean. Then it led me back to what Raheem was saying, and it's like, so anybody now can just pick up a team and sign up a team and say, I'm the coach.
Sound like AAU. Sound like AAU.
Good catch. I mean, I did a whole show on that. And like I said, the AAU circuit now is horrible.
Garbage.
I'm 50 plus. So when I played AAU, it was competitive, but I made friends.
That's the point too.
That was the point. It's like people from Jersey, I'm probably never gonna see again unless we get somewhere and play. But at the end of the game, it's like, yo, dude, good game, whatever, stuff like that. Now, AAU is so inundated with the dollars. I had a coworker that had a son that was playing, that wanted to play for a team. And he asked me, because our coach, he asked me about this particular coach. I'm not going to call the names or whatever. But I immediately, as soon as he got, I said, nah, don't do it. And he's like, oh, you answered that kind of quick. And I said, I know the dude. And I said, what's going to happen is, and you've already been telling me about your son. You said your son just wants to play because he wants to get better. He wants to try and get better. And I said, ideally, the AAU circuit is kind of a way for you to get better because you're going to learn some things. It's supposed to be fairly even competition, right? I said, but this particular coach, and I said, I hate to do this, but I'm going to be brutally honest. He's going to sign your kid up. You're going to pay. And when it comes time for the tournament, you're going to look up him and whoever else he picked to go to the tournament is going to be at the tournament, and your son going to still be home and he played. Or your son's going to go, and your son's not going to have a uniform. He's just going to be there. They're going to get that uniform. So you bet, in essence, you're going to be paying for somebody else. And he was like, you can't be. I said, I'm dead serious. 2 days later, another guy, he played basketball. He saw somebody else, and he asked him about the same person. He told him what I told him. He said that the guy that he talked to said he didn't lie to. And I said, it's amazing that the AAU circuit has turned to that, where all these people are worried about is the money and what tournaments I can go to and what's this and what's that. But what about the kids? The AAU was more so, when I remember it was about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called amateur athletic. People are like, oh, what? Yeah, that's what the AA stands for. Amateur athletics. Amateur, that means it's about the kids. Not about making the money and go getting the best kids in the neighborhood, and this will be taken. Kind of like how I feel about the city here. And we talk basketball here, and it was about 2 years ago, and still kind of running this day. Imhotep, technically a charter school, but they've been good for years.
Mm-hmm.
There are other charter schools that have popped up that have somehow, for some reason, surpassed some of the schools that have been around for a long time. And people ask me, how does this happen? It's a charter school. It hasn't been. I said, well, do your homework, do your research. All right. And he's like, what do you mean? All right. I live on 13th Street. I know Liam. Liam lives around the corner around 11th Street. But I know Liam can ball. And I know Liam got a friend. I can't remember his name right now, but I'm going to make sure he call him. And he don't live that far either. But then again, it's a charter school, so he don't have to live. I'm going to go tell Liam, like, Liam, listen, I'm getting ready to go to Bethune Charter.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, you can go there and be the basketball team. Oh, yeah, call your friend. What's his name? Chris. Make sure you call Chris.
Right.
Tell him the same thing.
Right.
And people are like, well, how does that happen? I said, because it's a charter school. Neighborhood school, you can go to neighborhood school, but if you got the grades, you can go out of your neighborhood and go to that charter school.
Yeah.
And I said, and this is how these charter schools are getting good, because they're taking the players away from some of these regular public schools and some of these Catholic schools, because they getting that spiel. Now, it may not be as close as that was, like the kids actually saying it, but it's looking like you go in the gym, you go to that school, you go look, and it's like, oh, I know him. Oh, yeah. Get that false, like we say, that false identity, that false sense of success.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. We going to go here. And then you get there sometimes and it don't be what you thought.
Right.
So I do, like I said, I do applaud you. Like I said, I commend you a lot for your wanting to teach and continue to teach. Usually, and most of the time, so we're gonna keep myself true to what I do. I like to flip the script a little bit, and I've talked to you guys. I've asked you guys a bunch of questions. I always like to play with the numbers, like I said a couple times, and play with the interviews. So I'll flip it. You guys are the interviewee, the interviewers, and I'll be the interviewee. Any questions that you guys may want to shoot at me? Before we start, though, I gotta say this, Bashana, if you're listening, if you tuned in, good guys here. I don't know if you follow, if you were watching or not, but I'm gonna say it again to you, and I'm looking directly in the camera. Maturity level here, what you need. Remember, I know I mentioned to them about a conversation we had about some other guys, but we here now, so I applaud you for that. Questions for me?
How'd you get introduced to basketball? Like, what's your story?
Wow. I got introduced to basketball with my uncles. I always wanted to be active, so when they would go play basketball, I would go. And as I got older and started going, they kind of spoon-fed me in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point where I would only play with them, or if I was playing without them, they wanted me to play with older kids. Helped me a tremendous amount. First thing it instilled was, like you said, that toughness, because I'm the smaller guy, but I'm hanging with these guys. The second thing, helped build my knowledge, my IQ, and my maturity. So that when I got to high school and playing high school, I understood a lot more why things were the way they were. or why things happened. And I understood in practice, this is how practice is going to be. It's going to be tough. And I learned a lesson from that also that I had to teach my kids when I was coaching, that when we scrimmage in practice, you can't get frustrated if your teammate stops you. And they were like, well, oh no, I said, y'all on the same team. He knows the play. But what are you going to do? It's not the end of the world. He's not going to always be on the other end. So what are you going to do? And you grow from there. So yeah, for me, that's how it was. It was being taught that if this is what you want to do, you want to play, it ain't going to be just joking around with it. Right. You going to play, you going to play. Right? Even if you don't go to high school, college, or whatever, but if you want to play, you're going to be able to play. You're not just going to be out there running around doing whatever. You're going to have some kind of knowledge and understanding of what you need to do. Good question. Any more?
I would have probably said what caused you or what made you transition, or not transition, but being a host and
doing
on
the
mic,
podcast,
doing it this way.
Yeah. So after the playing days, and I'm looking to get back into some leagues and some 40 and over, some 50 and over leagues. But I had an injury, had a strained Achilles, and I stopped for a while. Mm-hmm. But then I got back in. The guys that worked with the heyday, we were playing on Sunday mornings, whatever. And I stopped again. But doing this, when I wasn't playing, I was always, me and the guys, we got together, no matter what we were doing, at some point, the conversation either started or it led to sports. And once it got there, that's where we stayed the entire time.
Gotcha.
So people that were there were just like, and my voice, people always used to tell me, like, you got a real good radio voice. Took it like, yeah, whatever. But then when I saw, like I said, when we got to the end, we were always talking sports, and people say, yo, like, you should do something with that, because you don't just talk sports. It's like back then, even when I was in high school, it was like, when you talk about it, you talk with some passion, but you don't just talk, I like this team and this team is good because I like that player and this player. You like go in depth and you talk about, well, the coach could have did this and I think I felt like this. So I was like, I give it a shot. Kind of like you with the instant social media. Saw another radio station was doing auditions. Went, got picked for that particular station. Didn't work out because they were only in the evenings and they were only giving me one day a week and twice a month, because at the time, them being in the evenings, I was working in the evenings, so I could only do the 2 days of my days off. And I felt like it wasn't enough.
Right.
It was like a Thursday, and then I'm like, Thursday when football season starts, and I got Thursday night games, Friday night, Saturday. It wasn't enough. Ran into Monica, the owner of the station, here, and found a spot that I could do a morning spot. And I'm like, that's perfect. I can do Monday mornings. Monday morning quarterback. And this is where I've been for the past 15 years now.
That's tough.
Took a lot though. And if Monica was here, she would tell you, when I first started, she always preaches, I was that Visine guy, the dry eye. That was my monotone. But like you said, growth. Mm-hmm. Going in, and then what I would do was I would take what she told me, and then I started coming earlier and sitting in on her show and seeing how she did things. And then I started watching other podcasts. So I picked stuff up, and eventually I grew to where I am now.
That's great.
Okay.
That's a great answer.
Thanks. Anything else?
Between the three hats, a coach, player, ref, which one do you like the best?
The referee.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I saw a lot more that I wasn't able to see as a player and a coach.
Would you say that's perspective then?
I would say yes, a little bit of perspective. And I would say knowing that I had to see more. So for me, like you said, as a referee, I got to see everything that's going on. Got to see a lot. I got to be able to control everything that's going on. I got to make sure this is going right. I got to keep order in this facility or in this moment. As a coach, I'm going to see some stuff. I'm going to be able to navigate, but it's going to be things that I'm not going to see. Like I said, that moment, and when I told the coach, yo, talk to him. Mm-hmm. Because if I talk to him, coach never saw it. Yeah. At the end of the game, he told me, he said, I never saw it. Yeah. But I'm glad you told me. And then as a player, it's like, well, you think you know it. And I've had instances where I would do certain things and the ref would call a certain call. And I just had to catch him when yo, like, why did you make that call? Like, what did I do? And then when they told me, I thought about it and was like, okay. But for me, as an official, I gotta watch all that. And I think that is the hardest job because I feel like I've had two people in the amount of time that I was refereeing. I had two people at the end of a game come to me and say, yo, I admire what you do. It's just a tough job. And I said, I appreciate that. And as a referee, I got to the point bringing in, like you said, bringing back in the player and the coaching hat where when I started, I didn't care. I was just refereeing, just to stay attached to the game. Wherever referee, unlimited league, youth league. Mm-hmm. 4 years in, I cut myself off at middle school. Somebody said, why did you cut yourself off at middle school? I said, because once you get into high school now and you go into unlimited leagues, every player on the court thinks they know everything about the game. And they don't. Somebody asked me, so what you mean? An example. I'm refereeing a summer league game, unlimited. One team is up 20, 25. It's a minute and a half left in the game. Guy drives to the basket, makes the layup. After the layup, little tap on the wrist. I'm underneath. I'm not giving you that. The other team had no shooters at all. They took maybe three 3-pointers that entire game. Way off. Like to the point where if I was coaching and you shot that, somebody go get him now. Right? That's how bad the shots were. So as a referee, and I'm like, it's a minute and a half. They not shooting the ball. Okay, you made the layup. I'm like, dude, y'all up 27. What's the problem? He said, but I got fouled. Okay, if you had missed the layup, if this would make you feel any better, if you had missed it, I would have called the foul. But for the sole reason of you making it, putting you up 25, and me paying attention to this entire game, I'm not giving you that call. It's a cheap foul anyway. It wasn't a point, so you can go up 28. Like, for what?
Or miss the free throw.
Yeah, or you get there and you miss the free throw. Now you looking stupid. Or your coach is mad because you missed the free throw. So, after the fact, he understood, but like I got short in the heat of the moment. And like I said, at that point, I was like, nah, I can't do this. Because I'm going to be explaining stuff to people all throughout the game and then I'm going to miss stuff.
Right.
So I went back to, back cutting off at middle school, which worked out better for me anyway. Because most of the middle schools that I started refereeing were like out in the suburbs. So it was more receptive coaching. The coaches were more receptive to what I would say to them about certain players, right. Things of that nature. And you get back in the city and you got to go, well, why you call that foul? Because he choked the kid. What you want me to call? You want me to call nothing? He tried to block his shot. He smacked him in the head. It's a foul. Yeah, but it's a foul. He barely touched him. Dude, like, you didn't see his head move? Yeah, he barely touched him. I'm going to go and finish what I'm doing. I don't want to talk to you no more. So that's how, it played out for me. So I just started doing, like I said, the middle school games, and then it got to the point where it was certain areas where I wouldn't go Because it's like, for me, the little bit of pocket change I was getting, I'm not dealing with the extra stuff.
Right.
If I don't have to. So, I slowed up on that. And then I found my comfort zone here. Like I said, this is a comfort zone for me because I'm always looking at stuff. I'm always researching. It's crazy. I'm always researching. I'm always looking at stuff. And one of the other things I tell people, like, people have the misconception of me doing this podcast on my own and then they try to compare me to mainstream ESPN and things like that. And I'm like, we can't do that. And somebody asked me, they said, well, why? I said, just like with you guys, you have a history. I said, y'all don't understand. When I bring stuff to the table here, I'm the one doing the research. I'm the one creating all the topics. And I said, hey, y'all might not believe me, but I've been in one of those production meetings. Those production meetings are, in my opinion, bullshit. They come to a table and they have assistants come in and they put topics in the middle of the table. And the hosts go through and they pick out what topics they want to talk about, and then they have people do some of the research for them. You do have some of those guys that do some research, but the bulk of it is not done by them. That's for the show. I said, I'm more genuine here because I have to be, because I'm giving you my word. So I got to stand on my word. And that's just who I am. So I got one more question for you guys. And it's something that I've recently began to shy away from. And it all started with Brian and MJ. Who's the GOAT? So I got some people who are MJ fans, I got people who are Brian fans. For me, I'm an MJ guy. No discredit, no disrespect to Brian, but from what I've seen from Jordan from 86 all the way to winning the 6 rings and then retiring and whatnot, I felt like basketball in general, Benny Jenkins just said Brian for life. I get it, and I'm not knocking you. But my spiel is this. Jordan took those tough shots. And I'm going to say this, and I say this to this day. I'm going to take this to my grave, and I'll say it anytime anybody asks me. The Cleveland championship. Kyrie doesn't hit that jumper, they don't win. That's my opinion from what I saw throughout that series. Kyrie don't hit that jump shot, they don't win.
Best teammate he ever had. Easily.
And in my opinion, and a lot of the Bron people are going to now say, he's going to make the right basketball play. He's going to make the right basketball play. Not arguing that. I get that. But for me, when you get on social media or wherever and you self-proclaim yourself as the king, I need you to be like that Kobe mentality. End of the game, what's the play? Give me the ball and get out the way. MJ, when it's crucial, I got y'all. Give me the ball. Y'all had y'all fun. Give me the ball. I just feel a lot more times than not, and like I said, it's my opinion, Brian is not going to be up for taking that shot. I also feel like when people ask me, and this is where I want you guys to answer, if you could, a top, and I don't want you to answer because you probably get a little chuckle with it. If I was to ask you top 5 point guards right now, you would give me a list, right? But today's generation is so diluted that you'll give me 5 names and somebody from this generation, this Gen X or Gen Z or whatever, they will tear your list apart.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Oh, what is this? And I said, takes me back to, I saw Dr. J on NBA TV and kind of like in the middle of this.
Unk.
Let's see. Benny said, he said, is it all about the last shot or dominating the game in every way, though? Well, you kind of contradicted yourself, because if you're going to say in every way, I think that last shot is included in every way.
Right.
Just my opinion. I'm not knocking what you said, but I'm just giving you my interpretation of what you did say. So Dr. J went on NBA TV, and he brought up a very good point. He gave his names, his top 5 were like Elgin Baylor and Willis Reed. Appreciate you, Benny. Thank you for that. He said, fair enough. Yeah, I don't want to be right. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to be right. We just talking. It's a conversation. We having some fun dialogue. So he gave those guys, and the people, this host on there were immediately like, no Brian? And he's like, oh, he's not in my top 5. And he said the same. He says, like, it's no disrespect to him. He said, but you asked me my top 5. And he said his answer, his response to that was, I have to go through everything I saw. And I was like, wow. So for me, at that point when I saw that, I kind of stopped answering those questions. People ask me all the time, I stopped answering. Mm-hmm. And I said, for me, I stopped answering them because if I say, Chris, what is your top 5 point guards? And you give me your list, I may not like it. I may disagree with some of your choices. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line in that whole entire scenario, if I asked you yours, I have to respect, because I asked you for your top 5. I didn't say just give me 5 point guards. Right. I said your top 5. Mm-hmm. So I got to respect it, but I may disagree with a couple players here and there, whatever. And then shortly after that, we got into the point at work and we're talking about these players and this player. And I said, I'll tell you, if we go through this room, there's 7 of us in this room, you're going to make a list, you're going to make a list, I'm going to make a list. When we start divulging these lists, every one of us in here at any given moment is going to say either I ain't think about him, or somebody that somebody else is going to say is going to trigger something else in you, and you're going to be like, damn it, I could have put him on my list. So that's why I say, if you ask me, or if I ask you, give me what it is, and I have to respect it because I asked you for yours. How do you guys feel about that? I know that was a lot, but
I just feel like it's too much judgment and opinion. Mm-hmm. Like you can't have. That's first of all, that's one going one way and one's going the other way. Mm-hmm. You can't do both. If you ask me my opinion, that's it. Once I say it, that's it. We can talk about it, but there should be no judgment on what I'm saying. Right. That's the problem. It's too much of it. Way too much.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, I
can change my mind next week. It's an opinion. It's how it works, you know?
Absolutely.
Mine's MJ.
MJ? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to say that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I argue to people. I say, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, right? They won the 3. But look at how he had to build up to it. And like I said, I'm an old school guy. People laugh at me when I talk about LeBron going to Miami. I said, my issue was not him going to Miami. I understand the game today, the free agency thing. Yeah. I said, I was just confused and a little disappointed that they made a TV show out of it. I didn't get that part. What was the point in that? And I said, but also, I'm an old school guy. This is how I was brought up playing. If you beat me, I'm not coming to play with you. You're the last person I'm thinking to come about. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, Liam, y'all got this one. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm coming back. Right. So be on the lookout. I'm not coming to play with you. Yeah. I'm coming, and I'm going to try and beat you again. Or I'm going to try and beat you if you beat me or whatever. But I'm not going to go and play with you. I also said, like, the thing with the Bulls. I'm like, told you, I said, they could have arguably won 8 straight. Yeah. And people are like, what do you mean? And then when I started talking about, well, LeBron went to Miami. Yeah, well, they got Dennis Rodman. I said, pay attention to how they got Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman didn't say, y'all beat me when I was in Detroit, so I'm going to go play with them. Yeah. That was a concerted effort. Yeah. Like you mentioned, like you want to see the team grow. You got a 2 year, you want to see that grow. That was them in the early stages getting that growth. Say, listen, we here. we need this.
Yeah.
This dude over here did the thing to us, but he a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
We bring him in, we can get there. I also like to talk about Boston Celtics when they had KG and ended up there. And I'm like, y'all talking about, but they said that was a super team. I said, but they made trades.
Right. They figured it out.
They figured out they needed pieces and they maneuvered it and they made trades. They didn't go say, hey, Chris, listen, I know you're a free agent, right? I know they got some money over here. Come on down and play with us. I know we beat y'all, but come on down. We can complete this. They didn't do any of that. Right? They said, we need this person. We gonna make some trades and we gonna do this and we gonna do that. Like the KD thing. We lost to the Warriors and then you go and play with them. And then you get into it with Draymond Green and everybody made a thing about that. I've told people for a long time, I said, I have no issue with what Draymond Green said and did to Kevin Durant. It was like, why? What are you talking about? I said, what did he tell me? He said, well, he told me, yeah, we won rings before he got here. Okay, what's the problem? It's true. They won rings before he got there, right? He made it a little bit easier, but they did it before he got there. Mm-hmm. Right? There's another team I was thinking about. They had a team, but they all got drafted there. Like, look at OKC now, how they've grown. All those guys got drafted there. People were talking about the Warriors, and this is first. That's what it was, the Warriors. Well, they got Steph, and they got Clay, and then they got Draymond. Okay, but they all got drafted there, and it just so happened that they worked well together and they won. It's a big difference when you playing somewhere and somebody beat you, and then you look up in free agency and now you playing with them. Like, come on, real dude. Mm-hmm. It's like, where's the integrity? Right? I don't understand it. You know, it's hard. But again, like I said, with that LeBron thing, and like I said, I believe LeBron. People gonna think I'm crazy, but I said I'm being brutally honest. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I think he is exceptionally talented. A lot of times when I watch him, I'm amazed at the things he can do on a basketball court at his size. Right? But again, I tell people, the love that I have of the game, the amount of time I've been watching the game, when you call yourself the self-proclaimed king, I need a little bit more from you than that. You know, Mike never called himself the greatest of all time. So that's up for the fans. The fans that say that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, same way. And when you get into that conversation and I throw names like that, I say, all right, well, we're all talking about LeBron and MJ. Fine. Let's talk basketball. Number 8/24 from Lower Merion. What about him? What about Cat? You know, I said, y'all stretching. You know, and then we get into this eras. People in this era couldn't play in the era. Nobody from the old school era could play in. I said, you kind of got that wrong, in my opinion, because it's backwards. Because the era before now, 80s, 90s, was a lot tougher.
Yep.
The league was a lot tougher than it is now.
Yep.
I said, they don't have LeBron James rules. In the league, in the 90s, they had the Michael Jordan rules. And it wasn't him saying it. It was people around the league, teams around the league, and officials around the league calling them the Michael Jordan rules because he got beat the hell up. But like you said, there's too much of the personalization into it, too much of a fan stuff into it. And like you said, the integrity has been pretty much eliminated because, like, people, I always tell people, if you want to know something about stuff, do some history. Do your history. Yep. Learn the game. Right? And people talk about how certain players do this now, certain players do that. Look at the amount of time that these new players spend in load management. What the hell is load management? Right? Like, Kobe was one of my favorites as well. Not a couple favorites, but Kobe was one of my favorites as well. And when I talked about that to somebody, I said, Kobe said a thing to me. I saw he was in an interview, and he said his wife asked him, he was banged up. Yeah, why are you going to play? Your fingers all wrapped up, you kind of sore in the knees and whatnot. He said, because there's somebody that's going to be in that stadium, a kid or somebody hardworking that spent their hard-earned money to come and see me play. Who am I not to give them that? Crazy respect. Crazy respect for that.
Hardly being done now, isn't it?
I know I went to games and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to see this player. And then I get down there and I'm like, he not playing.
Oh, wait.
Right? So why did I even come? So, yeah, my guy Jay Blake said, yeah, it's killing the game. The load management is killing it. It's killing the game. So, with that being said, favorite NBA team, either one of you guys?
I don't have a favorite. I'll tell you that right now.
I like watching specific players. I don't have a favorite either.
Yeah, I'm about to say players for sure. Players.
All right.
Yeah.
Top 3 players that you watch.
I like small guards because they're more relatable for me. Like I watch Isaiah Thomas, Peyton Pritchard, another one. He's like a couple inches taller than me, but Kyrie's another guard I like to watch as well.
Yeah, I was about to say first and foremost Kyrie Irving, and then KD, Kevin Durant. Those are the 2 for me.
Okay. So both of y'all said Kyrie. And my guy, I don't know if he tuned in, but I'm sure you're going to see this later. Go Talk Tees. Make sure y'all check him out too. At Go Talk Tees on Instagram. Had a t-shirt, and I had the t-shirt on. So I got Benny Jenkins. All right, Benny, you back in. You a Sixers fan. You good with me now. I was worried about you for a second, but we back in now.
What, is that working? Yeah,
Yeah, that's y'all, Benny. Yeah, so we back in now. We good. What was I just saying? Lost my train of thought right there. Kyrie. Go Talk Tees. Best handles ever.
Easy.
Think so?
I gotta watch him.
He's the evolution of where it comes from, and he was taught. You know what I mean? Like he was molded and taught by those people. So it's kind of hard to take or give anybody else that exact, and he's still in the game. You know what I mean? So it's not like whoever we're comparing to. It's hard to give.
All right, so we got the Fire NBA with the Sixers. Him 2X, dude. Are you a Mav or you Sixers? I see you got Mavs better than the Sixers.
That's our guy.
And you got AI. Okay, I like AI. I don't know about the Mavs anyway, but they're going to be good. I'm not a Dallas fan. I'm not a Mavs fan. But I like Kyrie anyway. So for me, yeah, the shirt. Got Kyrie, best handles in the world, Kyrie. And I wore the shirt, got a lot of feedback from the shirt. But then I talked to some people at work, and a lot of times I like to play devil's advocate. So I wore the shirt, and I would just say to people, "Oh, what you think? Anybody else you want to throw out there?" And people were like, I don't know. And I said, "Y'all know what I'm getting ready to do, right?" And he was like laughing, like, "No, what you getting ready to do?" I said, "Y'all know I'm a basketball junkie." I said, "So." And I said, and I'm not saying that these are going to supplant anybody. I'm just giving y'all some food for thought. He said, well, who are you talking about? I said, Isaiah Thomas. But I made specific. I said, Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. They was like, oh, I ain't thinking about that. Like you said, I can change next week. I can change in an hour.
Yeah.
I also said, Jamal Crawford.
Absolutely.
People was like, whoa. I said, oh. And I said, yeah. I said, see, next time, don't be super fast to answer. Give it a little bit of thought.
For sure.
And also I said, one of my all-time favorite point guards. I said, Rod Strickland.
Oh, man.
And they looked at me and
That's his cousin.
They was like, yo.
Yeah.
And they was like, yo, dude, like, why are you doing this? I said, oh, what about Chris Jackson? And one of the guys, he was like, who? I said, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He was like, oh, I ain't talking to you no more. I said, see, and this is what I said to y'all last week when y'all wanted to go into that, give me your top 5. I said, yeah, you gonna change it. And I said, I had the shirt on, and I asked y'all, I said, and I just threw 3 names out there, and all of y'all was like, ooh, wait a minute. I said, but this is what I'm talking about. I said, when you talk to people, when you ask people certain things, you ask me for, like you said, you're asking for their opinion. You may not agree with everything, but you have to respect their answer.
Yeah.
You have to. It's no other way around it but to have to respect their responses.
Yeah. There's more that don't get talked about too, but it's not from this era. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is more.
Baron Davis, Stephon Marbury. Skip to my little Ray for Austin. Come on now.
Yep. It's a lot. It's a lot that you can throw in there. Yeah, absolutely.
And they actually can be.
And they can in that. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot. And you got some that are coming up now.
Oh yeah,
Mellow.
For sure.
You know, you got some that are in there now.
Yeah, he has some control.
Who else? If I had to pick another.
SGA.
Yeah, you can throw plenty of people in there. And like I said, this is what I say to people when I say, look, stop asking my top 5 and then tearing it up.
Right.
You can't tear it up.
It's yours.
It's mine. You can't tear it up. I'm the only one that can tear it up. So, again, one more time, I definitely appreciate you guys stopping in today, taking time out of your day, sitting with me. Folks, remember, each and every Monday, right here, 4 p.m., it's your boy, Sports Rap CEO. I'm going to have the guys give y'all their Instagram handle so you can follow them. Make sure you follow them. Make sure you also follow the Burlington Thoroughbreds, at Burlington Thoroughbreds. THRO. I know some of y'all might be a little nerdy and want to spell thorough. THORO, like you do it in the slang. Thoroughbreds. Burlington Thoroughbreds, all one word. Chris, Instagram handles, where can everybody find you?
So mine's C in Shetsky, and it's INSHETSKI.
Got you.
Mine is to inspire toughness. Toughness is spelled TUFFNESS.
Cool. And again, like I said, at Burlington Thoroughbreds. And those 2 guys here, if y'all didn't catch that, don't worry. When the video goes up, I'm going to tag them in the videos. And if you following me, you see that they've been blowing it up on the story for about a week now, so you can check them out. Remember, folks, be great on purpose. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Everybody get home safe. And I will talk to you all week on social media, right back here next week. And I don't have to give y'all my handles so y'all know where to find me. Peace. Thanks everybody who tuned in. And everybody that tuned in on Instagram. All of my Thoroughbreds people that have tuned in. I'm not going to name everybody right now, but I got y'all written down. I get to y'all. My regulars, Jay Blake, Lowell Rich, Coach, my cousin, anybody else that tuned in that I might have forgot, thank y'all for tuning in. Blessings, and I will talk to y'all real soon. Peace. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.